My name's Saul Conway and I'm Managing Director of my business, which is AS Financial and Mortgage Advisory Service. I've been using DoHR for nearly 15 years, and that was before this business and this iteration of the business. So they still look after another business that I helped found and used to run. So before I brought on HR help, because they weren't the first people I brought on, the load just became both administratively burdened in terms of actually keeping track of holiday diaries and sort of the nitty-gritty day-to-day, but more in terms of employee health, but like mental health, employee engagement, those sort of things started to get a little bit out of the remit of a day-to-day founder, MD, whatever you want to call it, especially as the company grows. And the first individual we brought on was more like an outsourced individual. And while he was capable of some of the fluffier stuff, administrative-wise, it was a struggle. He wanted to be very engaged, but didn't really want to do the administrative work. And I just felt I needed somebody a little bit more engaged on both sides of that. And that's what DoHR actually offered in the early stages. Certainly, as I've grown and they've understood both my staff and my growth and my culture, and the more they've understood it, the more they've actually been able to help. But I think it's been more than that. Donna and myself are very collaborative. So therefore, as I have changing needs, I'm very forthright with them, but they're very listening about it and are able to satisfy those needs. And I think in the early days, that the resources I got, which were very good, was maybe an individual, maybe a part-time individual. And as we've grown, the resources I have now feel like a team. And there are a number of different individuals within DoHR that do different functions for us, but as part of the service. The main benefit is that even if you bring someone on, unless they're of a very high level already, which of course is expensive, that you have trust issues anyway. You have to oversee that individual, and I'm not necessarily the perfect person to oversee them. So unless you're bringing on director level or even 10 years plus experience, which of course can be very expensive, you'd take a long time to build trust. I think there's a secondary issue, which I'm keen on outsourcing in many different areas because of this, is that HR have to have 2 or 3 main functions, one of which is employee engagement, health type environment, which actually works very well in-house. But when it's the tougher side, the more disciplinary side, or the more you're not allowed to take that holiday day, because that actually works better for an outsourced individual where people can't lean on, or there aren't other incentives or other politics going on. So for me, that is a no-brainer to keep HR outsourced for as long as possible until there's a true department there with no personal relationships with people in the company. Where I think DoHR are especially good, and this is something that people may not have thought of, because they are protecting or helping for problems, especially around the behaviours of individuals within the businesses that cause harm or other problems. They are very, very good at working your way gently through those issues, and they're normally an issue that you could never foresee because someone's actions are totally unpredictable, and that is a major benefit I found of them over and above what you could put on a term sheet of what a DoHR should do. That, I would say, is the major benefit for these surprising events that happen around employees. They've been exceptional. When you deal with some larger providers of both these services and other services, they do it a way, and that's the way they do it, and you fit into that. I find the guys and girls here very flexible in terms of how we're trying to achieve something. The outsourcing of HR, especially for smaller companies, is a no-brainer, and it's a function that the moment you can afford you should have, especially in the modern day and the way individuals and newer, younger employees think, and the mentality. I think it's crucial. What DoHR offer that I think a lot don't is being very perceptive to some of those attitudes and actually how to deal with some of those attitudes in a commercial environment. So it's not an automatic answer that you have to take some action and then that's how they do it, and if you don't take that action they won't support you. It's a collaborative discussion about information and knowledge, and then we work on an achievement together, which may not always be their primary advice, and they're willing to understand that I might not always go the route they want to go, and once we've decided on the route we're going to go, support that. And that is not something I get from many other places.